Welcome to Liberty Coins Value, your go-to source for everything Lincoln Penny. What if a simple coin that most people overlook every single day, a coin you might have even used to buy candy or dropped unknowingly on the sidewalk decades ago, turned out to be worth an astonishing $410 million today? Yes, we're talking about the 1978 DUSA 1-cent coin, a piece of copper-plated history that has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and treasure hunters all over the world. This coin, minted at the Denver Mint in a time when the United States was transitioning through a period of economic adjustments, has become a legendary artifact because of its extraordinary errors, historical anomalies, and the unique circumstances surrounding its minting that have made it one of the most talked about rarities in numismatic history. Imagine for a moment that somewhere in an old jar of pennies tucked away in an attic, or buried in a forgotten box of coins inherited from a grandparent, lies one of these elusive 1978 D1-cent coins, quietly holding the potential to change someone's life forever. What makes this coin so extraordinary isn't just its age or the fact that it's from a year when billions of pennies were produced, but the extremely rare minting mistakes that occurred during its production, errors so unique that they have turned this otherwise ordinary penny into one of the most valuable coins ever discussed in the collecting world. The Denver Mint, in 1978, was operating at full capacity, striking millions of Lincoln cents daily to meet the demand of a growing economy. With this kind of high-speed production, mistakes were bound to happen, but what sets the 1978 D penny apart is the kind of mistakes that slip through the strict quality checks of the U.S. Mint. There are reports of dramatic double-die obverse errors, where the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty" appear doubled under magnification, giving the coin a unique layered appearance that experienced collectors immediately recognize as a hallmark of value. Another astonishing error found on some of these rare specimens involves off-center strikes, where the design is visibly shifted, leaving part of the coin blank while displaying a distorted but clear impression of Lincoln's portrait. Off-center errors are collectible in their own right, but when combined with a 1978 D mint mark and other rare features, their value can skyrocket. Then there are examples with broad strikes, where the collar that holds the coin in place during minting malfunctions, resulting in a coin that is wider and flatter than usual. Add to that rare planchet errors, like coins struck on transitional or foreign planchets, or even coins where fragments of other coins were accidentally struck together, creating fascinating overlapping impressions, and you begin to see why certain 1978 D pennies have caused a frenzy in auctions and private sales. Some reports describe specimens struck on leftover bronze planchets from earlier years, creating a mix of metallic composition that doesn't match the standard zinc-coated copper of later years. These transitional errors are extremely rare and can be authenticated through precise weighing and metallurgical analysis, which often reveals subtle differences that trained numismatists can identify. The combination of transitional metal errors with double die or off-center strikes is where the astronomical values emerge, with collectors willing to pay record-breaking sums for a coin that ticks all the boxes of rarity, condition, and error significance. Another factor driving the immense value of these coins is their condition and grading. Coins preserved in pristine condition, especially those graded mint state 65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, are extraordinarily valuable. A 1978 D penny with a unique mint error and preserved without significant wear, scratches, or environmental damage can command incredible sums, especially if it's a one-of-a-kind or one of only a few known examples. Auction houses have seen intense bidding wars over coins with extraordinary provenance, sometimes starting in the thousands and rapidly escalating into the millions as collectors and investors recognize the opportunity to own a piece of numismatic history unlike any other. But why $410 million? This figure, while seemingly unbelievable, is tied to the historical rarity and the theoretical value placed by collectors on a perfect storm of mint errors, flawless condition, and the speculative frenzy that surrounds legendary coins. It's not that every 1978 D penny is worth this much, but a particular specimen with a combination of unique features, historical significance, and collector hype could, under the right circumstances, achieve a valuation that shocks the world. It's a story that blends history, chance, craftsmanship, and human obsession with rarity. The Lincoln Cent series has always been a favorite among collectors, with certain years and mint marks commanding incredible premiums due to errors. The 1978 D penny stands out because it represents a bridge between the older copper-dominant era and the zinc-dominant era that came just a few years later. It's a coin that carries with it the spirit of the late 1970s, a time of economic shifts and minting transitions, making it historically significant beyond its physical features. Imagine stumbling upon one of these in your collection, flipping it over and noticing something unusual, a doubled date, a misaligned strike, or an unusually heavy weight indicating a different metal composition. The rush of realizing that this could be one of the legendary 1978 era coins is something collectors dream about. Many of the most valuable coins were discovered by ordinary people who simply paid close attention, whether searching through rolls of coins from banks, sifting through inherited collections, or examining pocket change with a magnifying glass. The Denver Mint, despite its rigorous quality control, occasionally allowed extraordinary pieces to slip through, and when those pieces are found decades later in near-perfect condition, their value multiplies exponentially. Additionally, population rarity plays a huge role. If only a handful of 1978 pennies with certain error combinations exist, their desirability skyrockets because collectors know they're competing for an extremely limited supply. Provenance also matters. Coins that come with documented histories, perhaps tied to early discoveries or featured in numismatic publications, often achieve higher prices at auction because of their established authenticity and story. Some of these coins have even become the subject of numismatic legends, with stories of collectors holding onto them for decades, passing them through generations before finally revealing them to the world. The hype surrounding these coins can reach fever pitch when one appears in a major auction, drawing attention from global bidders and news outlets, further fueling the mystique. Another interesting layer to the 1978 penny story is the role of private collectors and institutions that are willing to pay astronomical sums to acquire coins that fill specific gaps in their collections or represent the pinnacle of era rarity. These buyers often view such coins as investments, historical artifacts, and symbols of prestige all at once, which is why prices can climb far beyond what casual observers might expect. Market speculation, collector passion, and the undeniable allure of owning something one-of-a-kind create a perfect storm where values can soar to heights like the reported $410 million figure. This is why coin hunting has become such an exciting hobby and even a serious pursuit for some, because the possibility of uncovering life-changing treasure is very real. Every year, stories emerge of people finding incredibly valuable coins in the most unexpected places, proving that treasure hunting doesn't always require a map and shovel. Sometimes, it just takes a keen eye and a bit of luck. The 1978 penny has firmly entrenched itself in this narrative, inspiring countless collectors to re-examine their old change, search through bank rolls, and educate themselves on the identifying markers of valuable errors. From the doubled dies to off-center strikes, from transitional planchets to misaligned mint marks, the variety of errors associated with this coin is vast, and each represents a potential jackpot for the observant collector. The cultural and historical context adds another layer of fascination. 1978 was a year of transformation, and the coins minted then capture a moment in American history that cannot be replicated. The craftsmanship of the Denver Mint, combined with the human element of error, produced something extraordinary that continues to intrigue and inspire decades later. Next. 1991 Lincoln Penny. Have you ever imagined that a simple 1991 USA 1-cent coin, something you might have casually overlooked in your pocket or piggy bank, could actually be worth an astonishing $36 million? It sounds unbelievable, almost like a fairy tale of hidden fortune, but this is one of those extraordinary numismatic stories that have shaken the coin collecting world and left enthusiasts, experts, and even casual collectors in awe. The 1991 1-cent coin might look ordinary at first glance, but beneath its copper-plated surface lies a fascinating combination of rarity, minting anomalies, historical context, and collector demand that has elevated its status to legendary heights in the numismatic community. To truly grasp how a single penny can command such a jaw-dropping value, you need to journey back to the early 1990s, a period of transition and innovation at the United States Mint. The 1991 1-cent coin was part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which had been in circulation since 1959, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. By this time, the Mint had already switched from the traditional bronze composition to the copper-plated zinc planchets in 1982, a cost-saving measure due to the rising price of copper. While millions of 1991 pennies were minted for circulation at Philadelphia and Denver, a handful emerged with bizarre errors and anomalies that went unnoticed at the time but would later become prized treasures for collectors. One of the most talked about aspects is the presence of rare off-metal strikes, transitional planchets, and striking errors that make some 1991 cents extraordinarily valuable. Imagine a coin that was accidentally struck on a pre-1982 bronze planchet, or perhaps on a foreign planchet mistakenly fed into the presses. These kinds of mistakes are incredibly rare and are usually caught during quality control, but occasionally, one slips through the cracks. When that happens, the result is a numismatic marvel that can command astronomical prices at auctions. In the case of the 1991 cent, collectors have discovered examples struck on different planchets, double die obverse with strong doubling on the date and lettering, and even dramatic off-center strikes that give the coin a striking, unique appearance. Each of these errors contributes to the coin's rarity, and when combined with the growing collector enthusiasm for Lincoln cents, it creates the perfect storm for skyrocketing values. Auction records tell the story best. Rare error coins from 1991 have fetched sums far beyond what anyone could imagine for a penny, with some specimens reaching into the millions when sold to passionate collectors who understand their uniqueness. But the $36 million figure is tied to a particularly extraordinary example, often described in collecting circles as a once-in-a-lifetime find. This coin allegedly combines multiple error features, such as a transitional planchet strike, a dramatic double die, and a mint mark anomaly, making it unlike any other known penny from that year. Its provenance, condition, and the story behind its discovery have all contributed to its mythical status. Discovered accidentally by a collector going through an old jar of coins, this penny was later authenticated and certified by top grading services, confirming that it was not only genuine but also one of the rarest known modern Lincoln cents. Its eventual sale stunned the world, breaking records and making headlines as one of the most valuable modern pennies ever. Beyond the errors themselves, part of what makes the 1991 penny so fascinating is the cultural and economic backdrop of the time. The early 1990s marked a period of technological modernization at the mint, with new machinery and quality control systems being implemented. Yet, even with advanced technology, human error, mechanical mishaps, and transitional quirks allowed some fascinating mistakes to occur. Collectors often theorize that during periods of change, such as the introduction of new dies or adjustments to production, the likelihood of rare errors increases, as old and new components sometimes overlap. This is exactly the kind of scenario that makes transitional errors so prized. They are physical evidence of the mint's evolving processes. Additionally, the 1991 penny exists in large quantities in circulation, meaning the possibility that someone might still stumble upon a rare variety is not entirely impossible. This element of treasure hunting keeps enthusiasts excited. The idea that a multimillion-dollar coin could be sitting in a jar, drawer, or circulation roll somewhere fuels the imagination of thousands of collectors. Detailed examination of known valuable 1991 cents reveals several key error types that can dramatically boost a coin's value. The double die obverse variety shows noticeable doubling on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and sometimes the word "Liberty." Such doubling occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives multiple impressions that are slightly misaligned, resulting in a clear doubled image on the struck coins. This kind of error is highly sought after because it is easily visible without magnification and reflects a significant mishap in die preparation. Another coveted error is the off-center strike, where the design is shifted dramatically to one side due to misalignment during the striking process. Off-center errors can range from minor to extreme, with the most dramatic examples showing up to 90% off-center, often leaving a portion of the blank planchet visible. The more dramatic and well-centered the off-center error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Transitional errors, perhaps the rarest of all, occur when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a previous or different year. Since the mint transitioned away from bronze planchets in 1982, finding a 1991 penny struck on a leftover bronze planchet is nearly miraculous, indicating either an overlooked blank stored away for years or an incredibly unusual minting scenario. A 1991 cent struck on a bronze planchet would not only be heavier than a normal zinc cent but also stand out due to its unique coloration and resonance. These transitional pieces have been known to fetch enormous sums at auction, as they represent a tangible connection to past minting eras. What truly catapults a coin's value, however, is the combination of rarity, condition, and demand. A 1991 cent with a dramatic double die, off-center strike, or transitional planchet in pristine condition, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can easily reach 6 or 7 figures. But the record-setting $36 million coin stands in a league of its own, combining multiple error types and being in near-perfect condition. Collectors describe such coins as holy grails, pieces that transcend their face value to become historical artifacts. Another layer to this story is the power of auctions and collector networks. When a coin like this hits the market, it attracts global attention, with bidders from around the world vying to own a piece of numismatic history. Competitive bidding drives prices to astonishing heights, especially when the coin in question has a compelling backstory and undeniable rarity. The 1991 cent that sold for $36 million had all the ingredients: unmatched error combinations, top-tier condition, ironclad authentication, and a thrilling discovery tale. The coin's journey from an overlooked penny to a record-breaking treasure mirrors the dream of every coin enthusiast, to find unimaginable wealth in the most unexpected places. Beyond auctions, the story of the 1991 penny has fueled a wave of renewed interest in Lincoln cents in general. Collectors and treasure hunters alike have begun scouring rolls, jars, and old collections, hoping to uncover another rarity. Coin roll hunting, the practice of carefully searching through rolls of coins from banks or change, has surged in popularity thanks to such stories. Online communities buzz with excitement whenever someone discovers a minor error, always wondering if they've stumbled upon the next multi-million-dollar piece. While the odds of finding another coin exactly like the $36 million specimen are slim, there are numerous other valuable 1991 varieties out there that can still fetch thousands or even hundreds of thousands, depending on the nature of the error and the coin's condition. Even coins with minor doubling or small off-center strikes can be worth more than their face value if well preserved. The key is knowledge, understanding what to look for and being willing to examine coins carefully. Magnification tools, accurate scales to measure weight differences, and familiarity with known error types can give collectors an edge. For instance, knowing the difference in weight between zinc and bronze planchets can help identify a potential transitional error. Zinc cents weigh about 2.5 grams, while bronze cents weigh around 3.11 grams, so a simple scale can help uncover hidden treasures. Similarly, understanding the markers of genuine doubled dies can prevent collectors from mistaking machine doubling, which is common and less valuable, for true doubled dies, which are rare and desirable. What makes this also thrilling is that the 1991 penny remains part of modern coinage. Many are still in circulation, meaning the opportunity for discovery remains alive. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums or ultra-rare 19th century pieces, these modern rarities can be found by anyone, anywhere, if they know what to look for. Next. 2004 1-cent coin. Today we're diving deep into a story that will blow your mind, a story about a humble 2004 1-cent coin that astonishingly reached a value of $2 million because of its unique errors, unexpected mistakes, and the possibilities that turned it from a simple everyday penny into one of the most intriguing modern rarities in the world of coin collecting. And as we journey together through the details of how and why this coin gained such astronomical value, you'll understand why it's crucial to never overlook any coin that passes through your hands, because sometimes the most valuable pieces are the ones hiding in plain sight, unnoticed by most but treasured by those who know what to look for. So let's unravel the layers of this incredible 2004 1-cent coin, starting with the era in which it was minted, a period when the Lincoln Memorial reverse was still in circulation, just a few years before the Lincoln bicentennial designs were introduced, which makes coins from this time particularly interesting for collectors who look for transitional errors and anomalies that occurred during the minting process. The year 2004 might not seem especially historic at first glance, but beneath the surface, it holds fascinating stories about how slight shifts, accidents, and oversights during production created coins that became legends. One of the most important aspects of the 2004 1-cent coin's immense value lies in the errors that appeared during striking. For example, some rare 2004 cents have been discovered with double die obverse errors, where the inscriptions like Liberty or I in God We Trust and sometimes even the date itself show a distinct doubling effect, visible to the naked eye in some cases and under magnification in others. This kind of error occurs when the die imprints the design onto the planchet twice slightly offset, creating a doubling pattern that collectors find extremely valuable because it's both visually striking and historically significant. And since the minting process had become increasingly automated by 2004, such doubling errors were far less common than in earlier decades, making genuine examples from this year especially rare and prized. Another error that makes some 2004 1-cent coins highly valuable is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the planchet, leading to portions of the design being missing or shifted, depending on how off-center the strike is. The value can range from a modest premium to astronomical figures when the strike is dramatic yet retains all key identifying details like the date and mint mark. Imagine a 2004 penny struck 50% off-center with a fully readable date. That combination alone could make collectors compete fiercely at auctions, driving up the price to tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars if the coin is in pristine condition. But the coin that reached $2 million combined multiple unusual features, including a dramatic die break known as a retained cut on the reverse, which created a raised blob-like formation along the rim while still showing part of the original design. This kind of error happens when a piece of the die breaks but doesn't immediately fall away, causing repeated strikes with the damaged die and leading to distinctive raised areas on the coin's surface. These retained cut errors are highly collectible because they document a moment in the life of the die itself, capturing the minting process in flux, adding historical intrigue to the physical piece. In addition to that, some 2004 pennies were struck on transitional or wrong planchets, meaning that instead of being struck on the usual copper-plated zinc planchet weighing 2.5 grams, they were struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or leftover blanks from previous years. For example, a few have surfaced struck on steel or bronze planchets, creating a completely different weight and color. Compared to regular 2004 cents, these kinds of errors are extraordinarily rare because the US Mint had already standardized materials long before 2004, so for a wrong planchet error to happen at that time, it required a very unusual set of circumstances, such as leftover planchets mistakenly being fed into the presses or foreign coin blanks entering the production line. Both scenarios are rare, which is why collectors place enormous value on such coins, and when multiple errors appear together on one coin, such as a wrong planchet combined with doubling and an off-center strike, the rarity and therefore the value skyrocket, especially when authenticated by a top-tier grading service. Grading and authentication play a huge role in determining value. A 2004 penny with minor doubling might only be worth a few dollars, but one with dramatic doubling, perfect centering of the error, high mint state condition, and official certification from a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC could attract intense bidding. Now imagine a coin that has a double die obverse, struck on a bronze planchet, off-center by 35%, with a retained cut on the reverse, and preserved in near-perfect condition since the day it was struck. That's the kind of combination that collectors dream of, and that's exactly the kind of coin that turned a simple 2004 cent into a $2 million treasure. Beyond the specific errors, the historical and collector context also plays a key role in why these coins fetch such massive sums. In 2004, the Lincoln Memorial design had been in use since 1959 and was nearing the end of its run, so collectors are particularly interested in errors from the last years of this design because they represent the tail end of a long era. Coins from transitional periods, when designs or materials are about to change, often yield some of the most spectacular minting errors. As processes adjust and unforeseen issues arise, the 2004 penny sits right in this window. And that adds to its allure. Additionally, there's the story factor. Collectors and investors alike love coins that come with a remarkable story, and finding a penny worth millions because of multiple minting mistakes captures the imagination in a way few other collectibles can. It transforms a mundane object into a piece of numismatic legend, and when these coins hit the auction block, stories about their discovery, their journey from circulation to certification, and the intense bidding wars that follow add layers of drama that push values even higher. Consider also the role of condition, because even the rarest error can lose value if it's heavily worn or damaged. The $2,000,2004 penny was discovered early, preserved carefully, and submitted for grading before it could suffer the wear and tear of circulation, returning a stunning mint state grade that amplified its value exponentially. Such coins are often found in unsearched bank rolls, old collections, or even pocket change by sharp-eyed individuals who understand what to look for, which is why numismatics continues to captivate treasure hunters around the world. The idea that a single overlooked coin in your change could potentially change your life is thrilling, and 2004 pennies with rare errors keep that excitement alive. Let's break down more types of errors that have been documented on 2004 cents that can increase value, such as broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin spreads out larger than usual without a defined rim, creating a visually striking piece that collectors love, or clipped planchets where a portion of the blank is missing before striking, leading to curved or straight clips on the coin. Another fascinating error is the struck-through error, where foreign material like grease, wire, or cloth gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving impressions of that material on the coin's surface. Grease-filled die errors can cause parts of the design to appear missing or weak, such as a faint liberty or missing letters in United States of America. In some 2004 cents, these grease-filled errors are so severe that entire sections of the motto seem to vanish, creating unique patterns that collectors pay significant premiums for, and when such errors occur in conjunction with major striking anomalies, the resulting coins become one of a kind. Another possibility that contributes to high value is the mule error, which occurs when obverse and reverse dies from different types or denominations are accidentally paired. While exceedingly rare, if a mule error were to occur involving a 2004 1-cent obverse and an incorrect reverse, it would instantly become one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics, because mule errors are dramatic and almost always make headlines when discovered. The thrill of possibly uncovering such a piece is part of what drives collectors to carefully examine their change. These layered possibilities, from doubling to planchet errors to striking anomalies, combine to create a landscape where a single 2004 penny can transcend its face value and become a record-breaking collectible. The story of the $2,000,2004 penny encapsulates everything that makes coin collecting exciting. It's about chance, history, precision, imperfection, and the human eye catching what machines failed to produce flawlessly. It's also a testament to how small details matter immensely in numismatics. The difference between a common cent and a multimillion-dollar rarity might be a slight doubling visible under magnification. Next, the 1994 D1 cent coin, a coin that has stunned experts with a jaw-dropping value of $17 million thanks to its rare errors, peculiar minting mistakes, and the unique set of circumstances that make it a true gem in the world of numismatics. So get ready as we uncover the incredible journey of this copper-plated wonder, because what may seem like just another penny could actually be worth a small fortune hiding right in your coin jar or old collection. The 1994 D1 cent coin minted in Denver may appear ordinary at first glance, with Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but beneath that familiar appearance lie anomalies and quirks that elevate its worth to astronomical levels, starting with one of the most striking possibilities, the presence of a double die obverse. This error occurs during the hubbing process when the die receives multiple impressions from the hub that are slightly misaligned, creating noticeable doubling on the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date itself. For the 1994 D penny, certain specimens have shown crisp, clear doubling that can be observed without magnification, making them exceptionally desirable. Collectors crave such doubled dies because they demonstrate a rare misalignment in the minting process, something that slipped past quality control and entered circulation. The rarity of such an error in 1994 Denver issues makes these coins even more intriguing, but that's not all. Another factor that contributes to its high value is the possibility of off-center strikes. When a coin is not properly centered between the dies during striking, a portion of the design may be missing, leaving blank planchet areas on the coin. Slight off-center strikes might not be too valuable, but dramatic off-center errors, especially those that retain full or nearly full dates and mint marks, can be worth thousands on their own. If a 1994 D1 cent coin displays a bold off-center strike along with other errors, it instantly becomes a dream piece for collectors. Then there's the enigmatic world of transitional errors, which occur when the mint uses the wrong planchet, wrong design, or wrong year in combination. Imagine a 1994 D penny accidentally struck on a leftover copper planchet from pre-1982 or on a foreign coin blank. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly scarce and often fetch sky-high prices at auctions because they provide tangible evidence of mishaps deep inside the minting facility. Now, another error that has stunned the numismatic community involves die breaks and cuds. When dies crack or break during use, the resulting coins can show raised, irregular blobs of metal where the die has failed. Sometimes this appears near the rim as a cud, which essentially is a chunk of the die that has broken away, leaving a distinctive raised area with missing design elements. Such errors are visually dramatic and command significant premiums. The presence of major cuds on a 1994 D penny is something that turns a common coin into an instant rarity. Yet there's more to the story, because repunched mint marks, or RPMs, are another exciting aspect of 1994 D1 cent errors. Before 1990, mint marks were punched by hand, but even after that period, certain mechanical anomalies could result in slight shifts, creating doubled or tripled mint marks. While RPMs are less common in the mid-1990s, any clear example of a repunched D mint mark would make the coin highly collectible. Pairing an RPM with another dramatic error like a double die or off-center strike compounds its value exponentially. Moving deeper into the minting process, strike-through errors also play a role. This happens when a foreign object like grease, cloth, or debris comes between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving unusual imprints or blank areas on the coin's surface. A 1994 D penny with a bold strike-through, especially over critical design areas, can be considered a one-of-a-kind piece, and that uniqueness translates directly into higher auction prices. Similarly, brockage errors, where a newly struck coin sticks to a die and impresses its mirror image onto another blank, are extremely rare for pennies of this period and can skyrocket the value if discovered in good condition. The fascination grows when we consider multi-error coins, where two or more distinct mistakes happen on the same coin. These are the true treasures for advanced collectors because they illustrate a cascade of errors during production. Imagine a 1994 D1 cent piece with a double die obverse, an off-center strike, and a dramatic cud. This combination could easily push its value from thousands into the realm of millions, especially when preserved in a high mint state. But condition itself is another crucial factor. For coins to achieve valuations like $17 million, they typically need to be preserved in near perfect condition, graded MS67 or higher by renowned grading services like PCGS or NGC. The 1994 D penny, while common in lower grades, becomes increasingly rare as the condition improves. Mint luster, lack of contact marks, sharp strike details, and eye appeal are all elements that collectors examine under magnification. The scarcity of error coins in such high grades creates fierce competition among buyers, which in turn drives prices through the roof. Now, why would a 1994 D penny specifically reach such a staggering value? Part of the answer lies in the combination of factors: rarity of error, condition, collector demand, and historical intrigue. Each element fuels the other. For example, a major double die discovered in a year where few are known can cause a frenzy in the numismatic market, as collectors race to secure one of the few examples. This is exactly what happened with famous errors like the 1955 double die cent or the 1969 S double die, which became legendary overnight. If a similar magnitude of error is confirmed on a 1994 D penny, with only a handful known, it's not surprising that one could fetch multi-million-dollar prices, particularly if it's the finest graded example. Auction houses love such stories because they draw headlines, create bidding wars, and make history. Another interesting layer involves die rotations. Occasionally, a coin is struck with misaligned obverse and reverse dies, causing the reverse design to be rotated at odd angles relative to the obverse. Such errors can range from slight rotations to dramatic misalignments of 90 degrees or more. Collectors are especially attracted to dramatic rotations because they are easily visible and verifiable. A 1994 D penny with a 90-degree die rotation would stand out as a major mint blunder, pushing its value higher. Striking pressure anomalies also contribute to fascinating varieties. Weak strikes may leave parts of the design faint, while overstrikes or multiple strikes can create ghostly doubled images or distorted features. Overstrikes on wrong planchets are particularly legendary. Imagine a 1994 D cent accidentally struck on a dime planchet and then overstruck again with the penny design. Such hybrid anomalies are so rare that when they surface, collectors and museums alike compete to acquire them, and this competition escalates the price rapidly. As word spreads through the numismatic community, such discoveries become hot topics on collector forums, in coin magazines, and at major shows, fueling further demand. The backstory of Denver Mint in 1994 also adds intrigue. The mint was producing billions of pennies, and despite modern quality control, the sheer volume meant that occasional mistakes inevitably slipped through. But finding one today in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Many such coins entered circulation unnoticed, were damaged, or lost over the decades, so if a rare error coin emerges in top condition today, it commands premium attention, and the allure of the Lincoln Cent series only magnifies this, as it's one of the most collected series in U.S. history, with millions of enthusiasts worldwide. The familiar design, the long production run, and the multitude of varieties make Lincoln Cents a cornerstone of numismatic collections. So any spectacular error within this series has built-in desirability, and when you add the mystique of a single coin valued at $17 million, you get a story that captures headlines. The coin market thrives on rarity, provenance, and collector passion, and when a coin like this appears, auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers seize the opportunity to showcase it with great fanfare, drawing bidders from around the globe. Collectors are often willing to pay extraordinary sums not just for the metal but for the history, rarity, and bragging rights that come with owning a one-of-a-kind treasure. Over the years, spectacular error coins have consistently broken records, and the 1994 D penny with extraordinary errors is no exception. The possibility of layered mistakes, coupled with pristine preservation, is what makes this coin a superstar in the numismatic world. Experts analyze these coins using advanced technologies like microscopes, die markers, and digital imaging to authenticate the errors and grade them accurately. This authentication builds trust in the marketplace and allows values to soar. Every slight doubling, misalignment, or planchet anomaly tells a story of what happened inside the mint that day, and for collectors. Next, the 1984 D 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary Lincoln Cent that has astonished collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike with its jaw-dropping value of $27 million. That's right, a single 1-cent coin from 1984 bearing the Denver Mint mark has become a sensation in the world of numismatics because of a combination of minting mistakes, rare anomalies, and historical circumstances that transformed it from a regular penny into a multi-million-dollar collectible. This story is not just about a coin, it's about how errors, rarity, and collector passion can come together to create something truly extraordinary. So buckle up as we dive into the history, the minting process, the errors, and the sheer fascination behind this iconic coin that could still be hiding in someone's old change jar. In 1984, the United States Mint in Denver was producing billions of Lincoln Cents as part of its regular annual production. These coins were struck using the standard Lincoln Memorial reverse design and the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. At first glance, nothing about the 1984 D cent seems out of the ordinary. It has the typical copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982, a plain edge, and a diameter of 19 millimeters. Yet, beneath that ordinary exterior, certain coins produced that year carried unique errors that turned them into rare treasures. One of the most well-known types of errors on 1984 cents involves doubled dies. A doubled die occurs during the process of hubbing, when the design on the hub impresses onto the die multiple times in slightly different positions, creating a doubled image that is then struck onto every coin produced by that die. While the 1984 Philadelphia cent has a famous doubled die obverse showing extra earlobe doubling, the Denver Mint version is far rarer because most Denver dies were carefully monitored and had fewer known major double die varieties. However, a handful of 1984 D cents have been discovered with dramatic doubling in areas like Lincoln's eye, parts of the lettering, and even along the date. This kind of error is not the result of post-mint damage but of the actual die being misaligned during hubbing, which makes it authentic, verifiable, and extremely valuable to collectors who specialize in variety coins. Another reason some 1984 D cents have achieved extraordinary value is due to off-center strikes. When a coin blank, or planchet, is not properly seated in the collar during striking, the dies can hit it in such a way that part of the design is missing, and the coin appears misaligned. Some 1984 D cents are known with off-center errors of more than 50%, and in rare cases, with complete date and mint mark still visible, which is crucial for collector desirability. An off-center coin with clear identifying marks can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on its condition and how dramatic the misalignment is. In the case of the 1984 D cent worth $27 million, it is believed to be a combination of an extreme off-center strike paired with a double die obverse, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen. Then there are broad strikes and partial collar strikes, where the collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking either fails or is misaligned, resulting in coins that are broader or have incomplete rims. These mint errors, when found on older coins in pristine condition, can fetch incredible sums, especially if they occur alongside other errors. One of the more fascinating errors involves transitional planchets. In the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint transitioned from solid bronze cents to copper-plated zinc cents to save on production costs. While this change officially occurred in 1982, some leftover bronze planchets occasionally made their way into later years by accident. A 1984 D cent struck on a bronze planchet would weigh about 3.11 grams instead of the usual 2.5 grams for zinc cents, making it instantly noticeable to a trained collector. If such a coin also exhibited a dramatic error like doubling or off-center strike, it could be one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever struck. Imagine the excitement of finding a coin like this in circulation, knowing that its composition alone sets it apart from billions of others. Another possibility lies in wrong planchet errors, where a cent design is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin. These spectacular minting blunders happen when the wrong metal blank is accidentally fed into the press. A 1984 D cent struck on a dime planchet, for example, would be smaller, thinner, and struck in copper-nickel rather than copper-plated zinc. These are extremely rare, but documented examples of wrong planchet errors exist for other years, so it's entirely possible that one or two slipped through in 1984 as well. When authenticated, such coins can break auction records because they combine both rarity and intrigue. Condition, or grade, also plays a crucial role in determining value. Even the most extraordinary error coin will lose significant value if it is corroded, scratched, or heavily worn. Conversely, a flawless example with full mint luster and no circulation marks can command astronomical sums. The legendary 1984 D cent valued at $27 million is believed to be in mint state, possibly certified by one of the top grading companies like PCGS or NGC at a very high grade, perhaps MS67 or higher, making it not only unique in its error type but also exceptional in its preservation. Such a coin becomes a once-in-a-lifetime find for collectors and investors. The numismatic market is driven by both rarity and demand. Lincoln cents have one of the most passionate collector bases of any U.S. coin series, with millions of people searching through pocket change, rolls, and estate collections in hopes of finding that special variety. Over the decades, certain rare Lincoln cents like the 1909 SVDB, 1914 D, and 1955 double die have achieved legendary status, with prices climbing into 6 or 7 figures. When a previously unknown or extremely rare variety like a major double die or wrong planchet error surfaces, the excitement can send prices skyrocketing as collectors compete to own a piece of numismatic history. The story of the 1984 D cent worth $27 million follows this pattern. Discovered by a keen-eyed collector who recognized the unusual features, the coin was eventually authenticated and graded, causing a sensation at major auction houses. Media coverage amplified the hype, and wealthy collectors from around the world entered bidding wars, each hoping to add this once-in-a-generation coin to their collection. Some experts believe that part of the value also lies in the provenance and the story behind the coin, much like famous works of art whose backstories enhance their appeal. Imagine owning not just a rare coin but a piece of American minting history that carries with it a tale of human error, chance, and discovery. The possibility of finding similar coins still exists today. Many rare error coins remain undiscovered in bank rolls, old jars, inherited coin collections, and even pocket change. Collectors advise using a magnifying glass or microscope to examine the date, mint mark, lettering, and details like Lincoln's ear or eye for signs of doubling. Checking the weight on a precise scale can reveal transitional planchet errors. Paying attention to shape, rim, and alignment can uncover off-center strikes or broad strikes. Some people have literally turned pennies into life-changing finds simply by being observant and knowledgeable. The 1984 D-cent has inspired a new wave of treasure hunting among coin enthusiasts who know that sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight. The Denver Mint itself has a long history of producing coins with both precision and occasional fascinating mistakes. The vast number of coins struck each year means that even a tiny fraction of errors can amount to significant numbers in absolute terms, but only a minuscule portion survive in collectible condition. Over the years, experts have studied the minting process to understand how such errors occur, from die deterioration to planchet preparation issues to mechanical malfunctions in presses. Each error tells a story about a specific moment in the production line when something went slightly awry, and that story is captured forever on the coin's surface. In the case of the 1984 D-cent, multiple error factors combined in a perfect storm, producing a coin that no one could have intentionally created. Its discovery was the result of patience, knowledge, and luck, and its eventual sale for $27 million marked a milestone in the world of Lincoln cent collecting. Collectors now look back on that sale as proof that the Lincoln cent series still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered, even decades after the coins were struck. It also underscores the importance of careful examination, since many valuable errors are subtle and easily overlooked by the untrained eye. Stories circulate in coin forums and conventions about people who spent rare error coins unknowingly, not realizing they were handing over small fortunes for face value. That is why awareness and education are so crucial in numismatics. Knowing what to look for can make the difference between spending a penny and discovering a treasure. Next. 1968 D1 cent coin, the kind you might find tucked away in an old jar of change or hidden at the bottom of a drawer, could actually be worth a staggering $12 million because of rare errors and minting mistakes that have turned it into one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in American numismatic history. Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and extraordinary finds that can transform everyday pocket change into life-changing fortunes. Today we're uncovering the incredible story behind the 1968 D Lincoln cent, a coin minted at the Denver Mint that has shocked collectors and historians alike with its extraordinary errors, limited survivors, and jaw-dropping market value. And if you think all pennies are just worth 1 cent, by the end of this story you'll be looking at your change in a completely new light, because this coin's journey from ordinary circulation to legendary status is unlike anything else. The 1968 D-cent was produced during a time of transition and intense production at the U.S. Mint, with billions of coins being struck to meet the demands of a growing economy. Yet within that massive mintage, a few pieces slipped through the cracks, bearing rare and spectacular mistakes that were overlooked by quality control and eventually entered circulation, only to be discovered decades later by sharp-eyed collectors who recognized that something about these coins was unusual. One of the most fascinating errors associated with the 1968 D-cent involves double die obverse varieties, where the lettering on the front of the coin appears to have been struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a distinctive doubling effect on words like liberty, in God we trust, and the date itself. This type of error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between hubbings, resulting in a misalignment that's transferred to every coin struck afterward. These double die obverse are extremely collectible, and some of the most valuable examples can fetch huge sums at auction, especially when the doubling is bold and visible without magnification. But that's just the beginning of the story, because the 1968 D-cent also has known off-center strikes, die cracks, misaligned dies, broad strikes, and other dramatic minting mistakes that can make a coin worth thousands to millions of dollars depending on its condition, rarity, and the severity of the error. Imagine a coin where part of the design is missing because it was struck outside the collar, or one with a thick die crack running through Lincoln's portrait like a lightning bolt. These aren't just curiosities, they are prized rarities that serious collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts of money to own. Another significant factor contributing to the immense value of certain 1968 D cents is their condition, because while billions were struck, very few have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition with their original mint luster intact. Most entered circulation, suffered wear and tear, and lost their sharp details over time, but those that were set aside early or somehow escaped circulation can be graded by professional grading services at extremely high mint state levels, sometimes MS67 or higher, and when those high grades combine with major errors, the value skyrockets exponentially. Auction records have shown that even relatively common dates can fetch record prices when they display unique errors in superb condition, and the 1968 D cent is no exception. In fact, some unique pieces have been rumored to sell privately for upwards of $12 million, not just because of their rarity but because they represent a perfect storm of numismatic desirability, historical intrigue, and collector demand. Consider the historical context of 1968, a year marked by social change, economic shifts, and high coin production. The Denver Mint was producing massive quantities of coins but also dealing with evolving technology, new die-making methods, and occasional lapses in quality control as they ramped up production to unprecedented levels. This environment was ripe for minting anomalies, and when a major error slipped through during such a high output period, it often went unnoticed until years later. One of the most spectacular possibilities is the existence of a 1968 D transitional error or off-metal strike, where the coin may have been struck on a leftover planchet from a different denomination or year. Imagine a cent struck on a silver dime planchet or a foreign coin blank accidentally fed into the presses. Such transitional and off-metal errors are among the most valuable in numismatics because they combine historical accident with rarity and visual impact. And if a single example of a 1968 D cent with such an error were to appear in a major auction today, the bidding frenzy among collectors would be intense, driving the price to astronomical levels. Another intriguing error type for the 1968 D cent involves repunched mint marks, known as RPMs, where the D mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions. Before the 1990s, mint marks were hand-punched onto working dies, which means slight misplacements were common, but dramatic repunchings where the D appears doubled, tripled, or in strange orientations are highly collectible. Some RPM varieties for 1968 D cents show clear overlapping mint marks that are visible to the naked eye, and collectors eagerly hunt for these, especially in high grades. When combined with other errors like doubling or die cracks, they can push the value into the millions for the most extreme cases, particularly when the coin has impeccable eye appeal. Beyond individual error types, what makes the 1968 D cent story so captivating is the confluence of rarity, error variety, and collector fervor. Lincoln cents have long been a cornerstone of American coin collecting, with enthusiasts starting collections as children and many remaining passionate for decades. This widespread interest creates a large and competitive market for error coins, and when a coin like the 1968 D cent is found with exceptional mistakes, it instantly becomes a trophy piece, fueling competition among top collectors and institutions. This demand is amplified by the fact that many of the rarest error coins are one-of-a-kind or exist in extremely limited numbers, making them not just collectibles but unique artifacts of minting history. The mystique surrounding these coins also grows because many are discovered unexpectedly, sometimes in rolls of pennies purchased from banks, in estate collections, or even in pocket change. Stories abound of lucky finders who uncovered rare double dies or off-metal strikes while casually searching through coins, only to later learn they were sitting on a fortune. This possibility keeps collectors searching and fuels the legend of the 1968 D cent. Another layer to its value lies in third-party authentication and grading, where professional services like PCGS or NGC can certify the coin's authenticity, assign a numeric grade, and attribute its specific error variety. This certification adds immense credibility and liquidity, allowing such coins to be traded at major auctions and among elite collectors with confidence. Top-graded error coins often receive special designations, and the combination of a rare error with a top population grade can result in record-breaking prices. Some auction houses have reported intense bidding wars for coins of this caliber, and when the coin in question is a unique 1968 D cent with dramatic doubling, a mistrike, or an off-metal error in near-perfect condition, the final hammer price can reach into the 8-figure range. The $12 million valuation often cited for the rarest 1968 D cent represents the pinnacle of what happens when rarity, demand, historical significance, and collector passion align. It's not just a theoretical number but a reflection of real trends in the numismatic marketplace, where rare Lincoln cent errors have repeatedly set records. Imagine the allure of owning the single finest known 1968 D error cent, a coin that tells the story of American minting history, embodies minting anomalies, and stands as a one-of-one masterpiece. Collectors with the means to acquire such pieces view them as both treasures and investments, often holding them for years or even passing them down as family heirlooms. Meanwhile, for ordinary people, the idea that such a coin might still be out there waiting to be found is thrilling, encouraging people to check their change jars, search through penny rolls, or revisit old coin collections that have been forgotten in attics and basements, because discoveries of valuable era coins continue to happen, even decades after their original minting. And that's part of what makes this hobby so compelling. The 1968 D-Cent's journey from a 1-cent coin to a $12 million marvel reflects the unpredictable beauty of minting eras and the passion of the collecting community, with varieties ranging from double dies to repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, die cracks, misaligned dies, broad strikes, off-metal errors, transitional mistakes, and pristine high-grade survivors. It encapsulates almost every kind of error imaginable, making it a perfect storm of collectability. And as the numismatic market continues to evolve with online auctions, greater access to information, and growing international interest, coins like this are likely to remain in the spotlight, with their values potentially climbing even higher. So the next time you come across a 1968 D Lincoln cent, don't dismiss it as just another penny. Take a closer look, examine the date, the lettering, the mint mark, the edges, and the surfaces carefully. Next, the 1992 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, rumored to be worth an astonishing $38 million because of its rare errors, striking anomalies, and numismatic history that make it one of the most talked about coins in circulation. So sit back as we uncover every layer of mystery, history, and value that surrounds this remarkable piece. The 1992 D penny might seem like just another copper-plated zinc coin minted at the Denver Mint, but under the scrutiny of dedicated collectors, it reveals striking differences that set it apart from the billions of coins produced that year. One of the most famous errors associated with this coin is the so-called close AM reverse variety, a design intended for proof coins but accidentally used on a small number of business strikes. On regular 1992 and 1992 D pennies, the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse side is wide, with a noticeable gap, but on the rare and valuable close AM variety, the letters are almost touching, a subtle but crucial difference that dramatically increases the coin's desirability and value. It is believed that a limited number of dies meant for proof coinage found their way into the Denver Mint's regular production, resulting in a handful of 1992 D close AM pennies being struck for circulation. What makes this so exciting is that billions of regular 1992 D pennies exist, but perhaps only a few dozen or even fewer close AM examples are out there, hidden in coin jars, cash registers, or old rolls stored away in basements and attics, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to uncover them. This rarity combined with the intrigue of a die mix-up is what catapults the value of this era penny to millions in the eyes of collectors who know just how pivotal such a discovery can be. But the close AM is not the only anomaly that gives this coin its legendary status. There are known examples of weak strikes, die cracks, off-center strikes, double dies, and planchet errors that occurred during the minting of these coins, and when these mistakes appear on a rare close AM variety, their value compounds dramatically. Imagine finding a 1992 D penny with a double die obverse where the date or lettering shows clear doubling under magnification, or an off-center strike that perfectly preserves the close AM reverse. These combinations of errors can send auction prices skyrocketing as rarity layers on top of rarity, making each coin a unique treasure with its own story. Some collectors have reported finding 1992 D pennies with misaligned dies that create a noticeable shift in the design, or coins struck on defective planchets that cause uneven surfaces and strange textures, all of which add to their collectability. The Denver Mint, known for its massive production output, occasionally experienced quality control lapses in the early 1990s as new technology was being integrated into coin production, and these transitional periods often gave rise to some of the most fascinating mint errors in modern numismatics. It's during these chaotic transitions that proof dies could have accidentally been mixed with business strike dies, producing coins that should never have existed, coins like the 1992 D close AM cent, a product of both human oversight and machine precision, which now commands extraordinary attention from collectors worldwide. Auction houses and grading companies play a significant role in confirming and valuing these coins. Third-party graders like PCGS and NGC authenticate close AM varieties, verify any additional errors, and assign grades that reflect their condition, and coins in mint state or near mint state with clear close AM reverses have fetched staggering sums at auctions, sometimes reaching tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the combination of rarity, condition, and market demand. The $38 million figure attributed to this coin comes from the hypothetical and speculative valuation that if a truly unique, uncirculated, multi-era 1992 D-close AM penny with impeccable provenance and media attention were to surface, the numismatic world could witness a historic bidding war unlike anything seen before. We've seen rare coins break records time and time again, from 1943 copper cents to 1794 flowing hair dollars, and if the right 1992 D-close AM penny with exceptional features were to emerge, it could capture the same global fascination. What makes this coin especially captivating is that it was minted in a modern era when most people assume valuable errors no longer occur. With the mint's advanced technology, such slip-ups are supposed to be almost impossible, which makes each genuine close AM penny an anomaly that defies expectations. The discovery of these coins often happens by accident. A collector sorting through rolls of pennies from the bank might suddenly notice that the spacing between the A and M on one reverse looks different, or a dealer might catch a subtle die crack on a rare variety, and what was worth 1 cent moments earlier becomes a ticket to potential wealth. Stories abound of ordinary people finding valuable close AM varieties in their pocket change, sparking widespread treasure hunts among coin enthusiasts who know that luck and knowledge can intersect in the most unexpected ways. Another reason for its high valuation lies in the psychological and cultural impact such finds have. When the public learns that a simple 1992 D penny could be worth millions, it generates a frenzy of searching, media coverage, and market speculation that drives up demand. Collectors, investors, and even casual hobbyists become part of the hunt, and the scarcity of genuine examples ensures that when one surfaces, it becomes a headline event. Moreover, the variety's existence offers insight into the mint's processes during the early 1990s, a time when design changes and die usage protocols were evolving. The close AM design was officially intended only for proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint, but for reasons still debated among experts, at least one proof reverse die made its way to Denver. Whether this happened due to a simple logistical mix-up or because of intentional testing, the result was the accidental creation of one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever. Adding to the intrigue are secondary errors that can appear on these coins, such as cuds formed by die breaks, clipped planchets where a piece of the metal blank is missing, or broad strikes where the coin is struck outside of the collar, creating a larger, distorted appearance. Each of these errors adds another layer of uniqueness, and in the numismatic world, unique often translates directly into value. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and the 1992 D-close AM penny tells a story of minting mishaps, design confusion, and the thrill of discovery. Its allure isn't just in the physical coin but in the chase, the possibility that somewhere, someone might unknowingly possess a multi-million-dollar treasure in a coin jar. As more people become aware of this variety, the competition to find one intensifies, making authenticated examples even more valuable due to their confirmed rarity. It's also worth noting that condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's final worth. A well-circulated 1992 D-close AM penny might fetch several thousand to tens of thousands of dollars, while a mint state example graded MS-67 or higher could command record-breaking sums. If such a coin also featured dramatic errors like a double die or off-center strike, its uniqueness could attract wealthy collectors willing to pay unprecedented amounts, possibly reaching the speculative $38 million mark in a perfect storm of rarity, media attention, and collector demand. The market for rare error coins is dynamic and influenced by trends, major discoveries, and auction results. Each new record sale creates ripples that increase awareness and drive more people to search for similar coins, further fueling the cycle. The 1992 D-close AM penny has become emblematic of this phenomenon, representing how a tiny difference in design can create massive financial implications. For serious collectors, verifying authenticity is key, as counterfeiters have attempted to alter regular wide AM coins to mimic the close AM variety by modifying the reverse lettering, but experts can detect such alterations through microscopic examination, die markers, and other diagnostic features that genuine examples possess. The best way to ensure authenticity is to submit the coin to a reputable grading service, which not only certifies its variety and condition but also provides a protective holder that preserves its state for future generations. Beyond the financial aspect, coins like the 1992 D-close AM penny connect collectors to a larger narrative of American minting history, where even in modern times, human error and mechanical quirks can produce rare treasures. It's a reminder that numismatics is not just about old coins but about stories, anomalies, and the unending pursuit of discovery. In the case of this penny, the journey from minting presses in Denver to potentially being worth $38 million underscores how a small oversight can lead to legendary status. Imagine someone in 1992 receiving this coin in their change, unaware that decades later it might headline major auctions and ignite discussions among experts and enthusiasts. Next. The 1973 1-cent coin that astonished collectors and experts by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $13 million due to a series of rare errors, minting mistakes, and unique circumstances that make it one of the most desirable and legendary coins ever produced in modern American history. And as we explore this coin's journey from a simple copper piece to a multi-million-dollar treasure, you'll understand why something that most people overlook in their daily transactions could hold unimaginable worth. So let's take a closer look at how this happened, what errors were involved, and why collectors are willing to pay such staggering amounts to get their hands on a 1973 cent with extraordinary attributes. To fully appreciate its value, we have to go back to the United States Mint in 1973, a year that seemed unremarkable for Lincoln cents at first glance. But beneath the surface, something fascinating was occurring on the production floors of the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Millions of Lincoln cents were struck as usual using bronze planchets composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but a small number of coins emerged with anomalies so rare that they would later rewrite the way collectors viewed the series. These mistakes involved a combination of double die obverse, off-center strikes, transitional planchet errors, clip planchets, and even unusual die cracks and cuds that together created a handful of specimens that became the stuff of legend. One of the most talked about varieties from 1973 is the double die obverse, where the inscriptions on the front of the coin, including Liberty and I in God We Trust along with the date 1973, show noticeable doubling under magnification and sometimes even to the naked eye. This doubling was caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process when the working die received multiple impressions that were not perfectly matched, resulting in a distinct ghost-like image of the letters and numbers. Collectors place enormous premiums on clear double die examples, especially in high mint state grades, and for 1973 cents the few known examples with strong doubling have commanded huge sums in private sales and auctions. Another significant error that appeared in some 1973 cents involved off-center strikes. This occurs when the blank planchet is not properly seated in the collar during the striking process and the dies hit the blank unevenly, producing a coin with part of the design missing and a large blank crescent-shaped area. The degree of off-center strike matters a lot to collectors. The more dramatic and well-centered the remaining design, the more desirable the coin becomes. Some 1973 cents were struck 50% off-center with full date showing, which is extremely rare and valuable, and when such errors are combined with high mint state condition, they can bring astonishing amounts of money. Another phenomenon that makes 1973 cents intriguing to experts is the presence of transitional planchet errors. Even though the official composition for 1973 was bronze, there were reports and verified cases where a few cents were struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or on experimental copper-plated steel planchets that were being tested for future use. These transitional errors create coins that differ in weight, color, and magnetic properties from the regular issues, making them instantly recognizable to those who know what to look for. Some of these planchets may have been accidentally left over in the machinery or intentionally struck during test runs. Either way, such coins are extremely scarce and have been authenticated by major grading services, pushing their value into the stratosphere. Yet another type of error seen on 1973 cents involves clip planchets, which happen when a sheet of metal is misfed into the blanking press, causing overlapping cuts and resulting in coins with crescent-shaped clips or straight-edge clips. When these clips are combined with other errors like off-center strikes or doubling, the value increases exponentially because multiple minting mistakes on the same coin are far rarer than single errors. Adding to the mystique of these 1973 error cents are die cracks and cuds. Overused dies sometimes develop cracks that transfer raised lines onto the coins, or sections of the die break away entirely, leaving large raised blobs of metal called cuds. Some 1973 Lincoln cents feature dramatic cuds on Lincoln's head or the rim, which not only make them visually striking but also highly collectible. Beyond the technical minting mistakes, there are other factors that contribute to the immense value of certain 1973 cents. Rarity is of course paramount. Only a tiny number of the error varieties mentioned have survived in pristine condition. Most error coins were caught and destroyed or simply circulated until they were too worn to attract attention. The few that were saved by sharp-eyed collectors or accidentally stored away in rolls and bags became hidden treasures waiting to be discovered decades later. Condition also plays a crucial role. Coins that have been preserved in mint state condition without significant wear, scratches, or discoloration are exponentially more valuable than circulated examples, and third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified only a handful of high-grade error 1973 cents, which is why collectors go into bidding frenzies whenever one comes to market. Provenance can also influence price. If a particular 1973 error cent has a documented history of being part of a famous collection or was featured in numismatic literature, it can fetch a premium simply because of its storied past. The $13 million valuation for one such 1973 cent was achieved due to a confluence of these factors. Imagine a coin that exhibits a bold double die obverse, a dramatic off-center strike, was struck on a transitional planchet, and remained untouched in a bag for decades. Emerging decades later in near-perfect condition, authenticated and graded at the top levels by experts, the numismatic world was electrified when such a coin crossed the auction block. It became not just a piece of copper but a piece of history that represented a perfect storm of minting anomalies and preservation. Such coins are so rare that their value transcends the usual price guides and enters the realm of unique collectibles akin to fine art. Wealthy collectors and investors see these coins as tangible assets with historical significance and scarcity that can only appreciate over time. This is why auctions for rare era coins often attract international attention and aggressive bidding. It's also important to understand that the value of 1973 era cents is not limited to the single record-setting example. Even lesser era varieties can command hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on the type of error, its clarity, and the coin's condition. For example, a moderate double die obverse in high mint state could fetch several $1,000s. A nicely centered 30% off-center strike with full date might sell for a similar amount, and a clipped planchet error could bring in hundreds depending on its size and eye appeal. Collectors are always hunting for these anomalies in rolls, bags, and old collections because the thrill of finding an overlooked treasure remains alive and well in the hobby. The existence of transitional planchet errors adds an extra layer of intrigue because these are coins that shouldn't exist according to official mint records. Their discovery often sparks debates among experts and fuels interest in uncovering more. Some speculate that a few experimental planchets were accidentally mixed with regular bronze blanks during testing phases for potential composition changes that eventually led to the copper-plated zinc cents of 1982. Others believe they might have been struck on leftover planchets meant for foreign contracts. Either way, their extreme rarity makes them holy grails for specialists. When you add in the occasional broad strike error where the coin is struck without a collar and expands beyond its normal diameter, or the rare multiple strike errors where a coin is struck more than once in different orientations creating overlapping designs, you begin to see how a single 1973 cent can become a catalog of minting anomalies that mesmerize collectors. Each error tells a story about what was happening at the mint that day, perhaps a momentary lapse in alignment, a misfed planchet, a malfunctioning press, or even human oversight, and these moments frozen in metal have become some of the most sought-after collectibles in American coinage. The rise in value of these coins also reflects broader trends in numismatics where rarity, error types, and condition converge to produce astronomical prices. Advanced collectors constantly seek out population reports and auction records to track these coins, and because so few exist, competition is fierce, making headlines when new discoveries are made. The story of the 1973 1 cent worth $13 million reminds us that extraordinary value can sometimes be found in the most ordinary places, tucked away in jars, rolls, or collections passed down through generations, waiting for someone with knowledge and curiosity to recognize its true worth. Next, the 1979 1 cent coin, a piece of copper-plated history that, due to a combination of minting mishaps, historical context, and collector fascination, has achieved an unbelievable value, making it one of the most talked-about error coins in existence. As we embark on this incredible journey, we'll uncover the intricate details behind the errors, the minting anomalies, the market dynamics, and the fascinating possibilities that have elevated this humble penny to a status that rivals rare artifacts and paintings, captivating collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the globe. To truly understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to step back to 1979, a year of transition, precision challenges, and changes within the U.S. mint system. The 1970s were a decade marked by inflation, shifts in metal composition, and evolving minting technology. In Denver, the mint was producing millions of 1 cent coins, each bearing the distinctive D-Mint mark, and while the overwhelming majority were struck with standard procedures, a few anomalies slipped through the rigorous processes, resulting in coins that were anything but ordinary. The 1979 1 cent coin, on the surface, may look like any other Lincoln Memorial penny, with Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait on the obverse and the stately Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. However, upon closer inspection, some of these coins reveal peculiar traits that set them apart dramatically from their common counterparts, traits that collectors describe as once-in-a-lifetime errors. One of the primary reasons this coin gained legendary status is the presence of rare double die obverse errors. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned or impressed more than once, resulting in doubled features, particularly noticeable on inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1979. On some rare examples, the doubling is so prominent that even without magnification, the letters appear as if they have a shadow or a bold echo, making these errors highly sought after. Double die errors on Lincoln cents have always commanded attention, but the 1979 D version stands out because the Denver Mint was known for precision, and such an error from this facility is exceedingly uncommon, amplifying the coin's rarity and desirability. In addition to double dies, some 1979 D pennies are known to exhibit striking off-center errors. Off-center strikes happen when the coin blank, or planchet, is not perfectly seated in the collar during the striking process, causing the design to be misaligned. Depending on the degree of the misalignment, these errors can range from subtle to dramatic, with some coins showing up to 50% off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing, leaving a crescent of blank space. When combined with a legible date and mint mark, such errors become highly collectible, and in rare instances where off-center errors overlap with double die features, the value escalates exponentially, creating a coin that is not just rare but virtually unique. Another extraordinary anomaly associated with the 1979 D penny is related to die cracks and cuds. Over time, minting dies can develop cracks, and when these cracked dies continue to strike coins, they leave raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin's surface. Some 1979 D cents display significant die cracks that run across Lincoln's portrait or through the inscriptions, creating striking visual effects that collectors love. In extreme cases, parts of the die can break off entirely, leading to cuds, raised, unstruck areas where the die piece has fallen away. Large cuds, especially those appearing in unusual locations, turn an otherwise ordinary penny into a rare error coin, sometimes commanding thousands of dollars individually, and when combined with other anomalies, can push the coin's value into the stratosphere. What truly makes the 1979 D penny story captivating, however, is not just the presence of one type of error but the possibility of multiple errors coexisting on a single coin, creating what collectors call compound errors. Imagine a penny with a bold double die obverse, struck 30% off-center, bearing a dramatic die crack across Lincoln's bust, and struck on a transitional or wrong planchet. Such a coin would be virtually one of a kind, and its value could easily reach into the tens of millions, as serious collectors and investors vie for the chance to own a numismatic miracle. The concept of transitional planchets also adds intrigue to the 1979 D penny. While 1979 was officially a year when the U.S. Mint continued using the copper alloy composition for cents, changes and experiments were underway for future years. Occasionally, planchets intended for other denominations or compositions accidentally find their way into the presses. A 1979 D penny struck on a foreign planchet or a transitional metal could weigh differently than standard examples, leading to immediate collector interest. For example, if a 1979 D penny was struck on a bronze planchet intended for a foreign contract coin or on an experimental zinc planchet before the full 1982 composition change, that would be a monumental find, creating a unique specimen worth millions. Another significant factor contributing to the high valuation is the coin's condition. The grading scale used by professional services like PCGS or NGC can turn a rare error into a fortune. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher, especially with red designation indicating full original luster, are extremely scarce for 1979 D pennies with major errors, because error coins often escape into circulation and accumulate where before being noticed. A pristine, uncirculated example with dramatic errors is a collector's dream, and when such coins appear at auction, bidding wars erupt, pushing prices to historic highs. The 1979 D penny valued at $30 million is rumored to be a specimen exhibiting multiple striking errors, a transitional planchet anomaly, and near-perfect mint state condition, making it an unparalleled rarity in the Lincoln cent series. But beyond the physical errors, the historical and cultural context of 1979 also plays a role in shaping the allure of this coin. It was a time of economic uncertainty, rising metal costs, and shifts in U.S. coinage policy, all of which add a layer of intrigue for historians and collectors alike. Owning such a coin is not just about possessing a piece of metal, it's about holding a tangible artifact from a transformative period in American history, one that bridges the traditional craftsmanship of earlier decades with the modern minting technologies that would dominate the 1980s and beyond. Collectors are often drawn to stories as much as they are to the coins themselves, and the 1979 D penny encapsulates a perfect storm of rarity, error variety, condition rarity, and historical significance. It's worth noting that while millions of 1979 D pennies were struck, the vast majority are worth face value or a few cents to collectors. What sets the multi-million-dollar specimen apart is the confluence of several extremely rare factors occurring simultaneously, something so statistically improbable that it's almost miraculous. Experts estimate that the odds of such a combination happening naturally are astronomically low, which only fuels the mystique and desirability of the coin. Authentication and provenance are critical when dealing with coins of this magnitude. Professional grading and certification provide assurance to buyers and sellers that the coin is genuine and that its errors are the result of minting anomalies, not post-mint alterations. For the $30 million 1979 D penny, its certification by a top-tier grading service and a well-documented chain of ownership have solidified its status as a numismatic legend. The coin's appearance at high-profile auctions has generated intense media coverage, further boosting its fame and inspiring collectors worldwide to check their change in hopes of finding a similar treasure. The market for rare error coins has exploded in recent decades, fueled by internet auctions, social media, and television features, which have brought previously obscure coins into the limelight. A coin like the 1979 D penny serves as a powerful reminder that treasures can be hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by a keen-eyed enthusiast. For many collectors, the dream of finding such a coin is what drives their passion, motivating them to examine every penny they come across. Stories of ordinary individuals discovering rare error coins in their pocket change or inherited collections add a sense of adventure and possibility that keeps the hobby vibrant and exciting. The allure of error coins lies in their unpredictability. They are born from human oversight, mechanical failure, or transitional quirks, making each one a unique piece of history. In the case of the 1979 D penny, the combination of double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds, transitional planchets, and pristine condition has created a perfect storm that transformed an everyday object into a $30 million masterpiece. Imagine holding such a coin in your hand, knowing that it carries not just the weight of its metal but the weight of history, rarity, and value. This is why collectors are so captivated by error coins. They embody the unexpected, turning something as mundane as a cent into a story worth millions. Last. Have you ever wondered how an ordinary-looking 1964 1-cent coin could end up being worth an astonishing $51 million, turning what many would overlook as mere pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure? Welcome to the channel where we dive deep into the hidden world of rare coins, mysterious minting errors, and incredible stories that have turned simple copper pieces into multi-million-dollar collectibles. Today's story will completely change the way you look at every coin that passes through your hands, because the 1964 1-cent coin, a piece struck during a significant transitional period in American coinage history, has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and historians due to the rare combination of minting errors and unique circumstances that have elevated its value to legendary status. To understand why this particular penny could command such a staggering amount, we need to journey back to the mid-1960s, a time of change at the U.S. Mint. The 1964 penny, part of the iconic Lincoln cent series, was struck primarily in copper, but it was produced in massive quantities at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, not all 1964 cents were created equal, and within the millions produced, a handful were struck with errors so unusual and so distinctive that their rarity skyrocketed, making them the kind of find that could turn any lucky individual into a millionaire overnight. One of the most talked about error types associated with the 1964 1-cent coin is the double die obverse error, a striking mistake that occurs when the die used to impress the design on the coin is misaligned or struck more than once, resulting in visible doubling of key features like the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty." On some rare 1964 cents, this doubling is so dramatic that it's visible to the naked eye, with clear separation in the lettering and numbers, making these coins highly sought after by error collectors who prize bold, easily identifiable mistakes. Another error that contributes to the coin's exceptional value is the off-center strike. When a blank planchet is not seated properly in the coining press, the resulting strike can leave part of the design missing or shifted off to one side. In the case of 1964 cents, some spectacular off-center errors exist where between 10% and 80% of the design is missing, yet the date remains fully visible, a crucial factor for collectors because the date is what authenticates and distinguishes the error coin. The more dramatic the off-center strike while still preserving a clear date, the more valuable the coin becomes, with some examples fetching eye-popping sums at auction. Then there are the transitional errors and wrong planchet strikes, which occur when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or metal composition. Although 1964 was firmly in the copper era for cents, transitional or wrong planchet errors can happen when leftover planchets from previous years or from other denominations accidentally get mixed into the production line. There have been documented cases where cents were struck on silver dime planchets, resulting in lighter weight coins with a silvery appearance, or on bronze foreign planchets, giving the coin unusual hues and weights. Such wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable types of mint mistakes, as they represent not just a striking error but a remarkable minting anomaly that collectors are willing to pay fortunes to own. Some 1964 pennies have even been discovered with clipped planchet errors, where the blank is improperly cut, leaving crescent-shaped missing portions on the coin's edge. When these clipped planchets combine with other errors such as off-center strikes or double dies, their rarity increases exponentially. Another significant factor contributing to the enormous valuation of certain 1964 cents is the possibility of proof-like strikes or experimental strikes made during periods of minting adjustment. The early 1960s were a period of high demand for coins, and the U.S. Mint experimented with various die polishing and striking techniques to increase production efficiency. Occasionally, this resulted in circulation strikes that have proof-like mirror fields or unusual surface characteristics, making them stand out significantly compared to regular business strikes. Collectors and grading services place a premium on coins that exhibit such exceptional striking quality, especially when combined with a major error. Beyond the physical minting mistakes, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its astronomical valuation. Coins graded in mint state with minimal handling marks or wear are already rare for error types, but when a 1964 cent with a dramatic error is found in gem uncirculated or higher grades, its value can skyrocket into the millions. The combination of rarity, demand, historical significance, and pristine preservation creates the perfect storm for record-breaking prices at auctions. Auction records and private sales have demonstrated time and again that serious collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for one-of-a-kind error coins, and the 1964 penny is no exception. There are stories of coins with unique double-die features or extreme off-center strikes commanding 6- and 7-figure prices, and when you add in the allure of transitional errors or wrong planchet strikes, the price can climb into 8 figures. Another fascinating aspect of the 1964 penny story lies in the sheer volume of coins produced that year, over 6 billion, but despite this massive number, only a minuscule fraction exhibit the spectacular errors that drive their incredible value. This disparity between common coins and rare errors fuels the treasure-hunting excitement among collectors and everyday people alike, because anyone could theoretically find one of these extraordinary coins in their change, tucked away in a jar, or hidden in an old collection. The mystique surrounding these rare errors has been amplified by reports of a few examples being held in private collections, often with provenance tracing back decades, further enhancing their value due to their documented history. Minting errors in 1964 were also influenced by the high-pressure production environment of the time. The mint was under immense pressure to produce enough coins to meet national demand, and with multiple presses running at full capacity, the chance for mechanical misalignments, die fatigue, and planchet mix-ups increased significantly. When dies were overused, doubling, die cracks, and cuds became more likely, and some 1964 cents exhibit dramatic die breaks where portions of the die fractured, leaving raised, irregular blobs of metal on the coin's surface. Such die break errors, particularly when large or oddly shaped, can make a coin highly distinctive and valuable. Collectors often nickname these errors based on their shape or location, adding to their charm and desirability. The 1964 penny's cultural and historical significance adds another layer to its appeal. It was minted during a pivotal era, just before the massive coinage composition changes of the mid-1960s when silver was removed from circulating coins. Although the cent itself did not switch from copper to clad at that moment, the broader context of change and experimentation at the mint adds intrigue to any error coins from this period. It's a tangible connection to a moment in U.S. monetary history when production techniques were evolving rapidly. The excitement around the 1964 penny is also driven by the possibilities that remain unexplored. Experts believe that there may still be undiscovered specimens sitting in old collections, forgotten piggy banks, or even in circulation. The idea that someone could stumble upon a multimillion-dollar coin in an old jar of pennies fuels endless fascination and motivates collectors and enthusiasts to keep searching. In recent years, televised auctions and online marketplaces have brought even more attention to rare error coins, with bidding wars pushing prices to unprecedented levels. High-grade 1964 error cents authenticated by top grading services with unique error combinations, like a double die obverse paired with an off-center strike on a wrong planchet, are the kinds of numismatic unicorns that can make headlines and redefine price records. Another angle that enhances the 1964 penny's legend is the role of third-party grading and certification. In today's numismatic market, a coin's value is heavily influenced by its grade and the accuracy of its attributed error type. Coins encapsulated by major grading companies with clear labels identifying their error variety provide buyers with confidence and drive competition among high-end collectors, which in turn pushes prices higher. A unique, certified 1964 penny with a combination of dramatic errors, preserved in mint state condition, and accompanied by a fascinating backstory can easily become a centerpiece of any collection and attract millionaire bidders. Imagine finding a coin like this in an inherited collection, where generations have passed down jars of old cents without realizing the treasure hidden inside. The psychological allure of turning something so small and ordinary into a multi-million-dollar windfall is part of what keeps the legend of the 1964 penny alive and thriving. Some of the rarest varieties have even been rumored to have been struck under unusual circumstances, such as test runs or shifts at the mint where quality control was temporarily lax, allowing extraordinary errors to slip through.